Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Mind You. This is May 2021, and this in America is actually Mental Health Awareness Month. And I believe it's Mental Health Awareness Week. I think it's the 10th of May in the UK. But anyway, Mind You is a little open conversation that I like to do on my channel and put onto other podcast services where me and a bunch of friends just have a open conversation talking about anything related or affecting their mental health. As I firmly believe that talking about stuff, regardless of the size, it's all relative for everybody. It's so beneficial. So that's what we're doing just now. So let's introduce who we got on the show today. So do I just start from the top and work our way down?
Is it me? Oh no, it's Nicole.
Hi, I'm Avenge92X or Nicole. You can call me either one. I stream here on Twitch sometimes, apparently. But yeah.
Awesome. Great to hear. Thanks for being here, Vince.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Cesar Torres, Caesar Towers. I am, I do things. I am a streamer. I make YouTube videos, and I just hang around and have a good time with everybody.
Awesome. Cheers.
So,
Thanks again for being here. Appreciate it. And next up we have.
Hello. Interesting, Caesar, because I just something I just realized right now because I was speaking about my dad about this morning actually about representation and stuff like because I could say my name is Andrew Rivera, which is my name, or I could say my name is Andrew Rivera, as you know, with the Spanish inflection. And I just didn't realize that until now that I don't usually do that unless I'm with friends who are Hispanic. So we'll
yeah.
put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that. Hello, I'm Andrew Rivera, aka Mecha Shadow 12. I stream on a very, very limited schedule on Twitch. Very limited. And I hope one day I can get Avenged to be my mod.
I think all you
I
gotta do
mean,
to get that is just
Just
ask,
flash
and,
mod.
and,
yeah.
and it just
Yeah,
happens.
you
No,
just make me mod, it's fine.
I don't think I asked Avenged. I think I just made her a mod. Yeah.
Just like
I've
here you
popped
go.
into chats and didn't know I was going to be a mod until I was in there and had a sword.
There were
Like,
some
okay, cool.
moments where she was a mod in a chat before she followed the stream.
Yeah, that
That
actually happened recently.
that's a bold move from someone. I like that. I like that hustle.
Wait, did that really happen?
Yes.
That's so funny and so weird.
If anyone knows Kestrel, he is
Oh,
a friend of Harv.
yeah.
And yeah, I think Vegas was in there before and was like, hey, just mod us all. So I popped in there from a raid, wasn't following yet, and had a mod sword. So
That's funny.
There
You're
you go.
just that good and that deserving.
now if I can just get one on Reese's stream.
Yes, moving on. Let's get on to the Mind You back on track. Is there anyone? So I like to just sort of explain just the sort of format of it. So essentially, I like to give everyone 10, 15 minutes. That's just like an arbitrary number. Talk about whatever is on your mind. Even if it's, you can talk about your past history of mental health if you think that would help. You can talk just about your week if it's been a good or a bad one, or just even if it's like the smallest of things that's possibly affected you, or something it's been on your mind like way more than it should be, and you want to just talk about it. And then after that, the rest of us who haven't sort of been talking, we will, kind of discuss that with you, maybe throw some questions your way, or try and advice or whatever. Because that's where it kind of comes from. I feel when you talk about stuff that does affect your mental health or is just affecting you personally, if you you bounce it off someone else, they could easily have the answer, they could easily have done something similar, they could have just advice and help you on something that, or put your mind on a certain path that you weren't even considering before. So I feel like that's why there's just so much more benefits to opening up rather than sort of keeping it to yourselves. And then once everyone's had their kind of go to talk about stuff, we'll have a little breather. Also, that's when I'll catch up with chat because currently I've hidden chat. I do encourage everyone else to sort of hide chat so they're focused on everyone else just within this call. And then after that, then in the next hour, 45 minutes or whatever, after that, it'll just, decompress, talk about anything that you want, just chill, fun times after that. So yeah, is everyone okay with that? Is everyone understanding? Any questions?
No, yeah, that sounds good. to me.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is there is there anyone who wants to go first, who's desperate to talk about stuff and want to get it out of the way?
Why isn't Avenge the mod in your chat? Let's talk about that for a second.
So Caesar,
Yeah, it's a
you want to
little
go first?
sudden.
You want to go first, Caesar?
No, you want to talk about our beef?
Hey, it's totally up to you. It's totally if that's what you want to talk about, by all means.
I think it's a conversation to be had. To just put out there. You know what I mean? Just to talk about.
Oh, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
let's-
Nothing's off the table here. I'm like,
Wait, this
I-
is like a real beef?
when I come.
No, it's not that serious. It's just
Oh, okay, I was like, oh shit.
it's something that people it's just like misunderstanding is just all it is really. Basically recently Reese has been nagging me about eating Big Mac, and then I did,
Mhm.
and then he wouldn't stop nagging me afterwards because I didn't finish it. And that kind of got on my nerves a little bit, but then it kind of stopped. So I stopped really caring or paying attention. So I was like, whatever, let's just move on. And then he made a tweet about me mispronouncing Lady D's name, which I just didn't care about, right? And other people perceived it as like, why is Reese bullying Caesar so much? And I was just like, I don't think he's bullying me. Like, I just think it's just different, and I think there's definitely some credence to, like, sometimes we need to think before we put stuff out there. And Reese and I had talked about this. Obviously, I would not be here if I hated Reese.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
and well, obviously vice versa as well. I think when you said that it was just miscommunications and stuff like that, and it was me definitely taking things maybe a bit too far. As
Yeah.
I said, I think I got too familiar with Caesar. I was kind of treating him like how I treat one of my other close friends. Like when it comes to that, and our sort of relationships with my like IRL friends who I've known like literally like almost all my life. So when it comes to, as we call it, mugging each other, so it's essentially, you kind of make fun of each other and have little sly digs and stuff, but it's all totally in jest. None of it is
Yeah.
venomous. None of it is, out to, cause harm in any way, shape, or form. And I think it was just me possibly misjudging the line and with Caesar, and that's yeah, again, that's totally all on me. It was I think I should have definitely thought
And like
a bit more
like I said,
beforehand.
like, I don't I don't hate you. Like, there's no reason for me to hate you, or because like I know who you are. It's just that definitely, like, I think before people make judgments on other people as well, on that
Mhm,
end,
mhm.
they need to understand where it's coming from as well.
Yeah,
Because we have talked about this stuff before, where it's just like your line is way further than mine is, or
threshold.
yeah, your threshold is just way
Mhm.
different than mine. And I knew that going into it, and I was just like, if I just ignore it, it'll stop, and we'll just move on to the next thing. But I also think we need to talk to each other too when things get out of line as well.
Oh yeah,
And
like
so that's where I
yeah.
messed up as well. Where like
Uh-huh.
I didn't talk to you, and other people spoke up for me,
Hmm.
and I feel bad for that because you got a really shit end of the stick on that one, and I should have done better.
Yeah, so it was
But
just I think it was mostly my fault. It's like I should have maybe thought about it and
yeah,
been a bit more considerate overall.
And I've done that before too.
Yeah.
I've done that before too, where it's just like I think the line is something else, and other people are like, "No, that's not fair."
Hmm.
I think everybody just needs to find some sort of like understanding within each other,
Oh, absolutely. And
especially like, you know, we're so ingrained in this community. I think people know we're not bad people. Just sometimes things come out the wrong way.
oh yeah, and then especially over the internet and just through text
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so much can be lost and other things can be twisted and looked at in something with way more malice than it's actually intended. That's the thing. If you do something like a tweet, it's maybe something at the time you think, oh my god, this is so hilarious. You put it out there, and then someone will maybe like just pick up and say, oh, why are you being mean to Caesar? And I was like, I'm not being mean. Oh wait, oh I can see why, because well.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That's it's looked bad there, and it's only after the fact. But I think another takeaway is the fact that we were able to actually talk about it and you know essentially not
Yeah.
make clear everything up and clear the air. And I think that's a massive positive. Not everybody, or if people in certain situations would do that sort of thing, or I reached out and talked to you easy, like other people could have said, oh no, I don't want to talk to you after that, or someone else might not reach out. So it's like the fact that we got to an amicable ending. It's I'll take that as a big positive.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up because I think there needs to be more conversation instead of just assuming
Yeah, it's
things are one way or
yeah.
another.
I think you're totally right with that one as well. Yeah, definitely. If there is like an air of grayness there, sometimes it just needs to be put actually in black and white, so
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Yeah. But other than that, I hate Reese so much. He's the worst fucking person
Yeah,
to ever exist.
concur.
Could not agree more.
Yeah, see, we're all on the same page. That's why we're here. But yeah, was there anything else like on your mind, Caesar, that you wanted to you've thought about, or that's been bothering you, even it's something recent this week or just anything?
Um, I don't know. I think it's just like I, I I think people need to understand like, uh not every conversation you have with somebody like okay, this is different, right? Because this is like kind of like trying to get things out there, right?
Hmm.
But I think people need to understand as well, especially in our community and where everybody's making content. Not everything has to be content. Because like this is obviously different, right? This is just like was based on like trying to get our insecurities out there and like trying to normalize it.
Hmm.
But like when you're just hanging out with somebody and you're like, hey, save that for the stream or save that for this, it's like I don't want to save it for anything. I want to have a friendship with you right now. Like it doesn't have to be anything. I don't know. Like not everything has to be content. I think some people need to realize that because once everything is content and once you're working on a lot of things, you stress yourself out more. And then yeah, and then you start bringing other people in sometimes to do things with you. And if anything, I would highly, because from what I've seen from other people, not my personal experiences, sometimes bringing in your friends to work on stuff with you is just not the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I think some people need to think about how they're making stuff beforehand. And it's just that's been something that's been bothering me lately. It's because like right now I think our community is like in an era of content where we're making so much and so much and so much that it feels like sometimes we can slow down. Uh, sometimes we need to slow down and just think about what we're actually making. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. Um, I think it's when you're quote unquote creating content, I think sometimes you get lost and the focus isn't there. And I think a lot of it is coming down to that actual life work balance. I
Yeah.
think with content creation, it's easy to, once you start, that's just actual single track mind, just content. Oh, let's go. We'll put this on YouTube, or maybe we can stream this, or maybe this can be a podcast, and then it's just
Yeah.
like your whole life is just revolving. And I'm not saying like that's anything bad whatsoever, but
Yeah,
it,
and it's not merely like making a judgment on anybody or anything that's happened or happening right now or will happen or anything. I just think like before something gets made, you really have to think about, is this going to be worth the time? Because sometimes you get really excited about something and you start making it, and then it just falls apart for one reason or another.
yeah, and especially if you says if friends are getting involved, and uh yeah, that can be when it comes to something like that. It's like, it's, you almost never ask your friends for money, because then that's just going to lead to heartache eventually. And what was the other? I would never go into business with a friend, because it's like the same sort of idea. Emotions can get in the way, and personalities,
Yeah.
and they can take advantage, or you can take advantage of them because you know them previously. And it's all just seems a bit muddy when it comes to stuff like that.
And like, sometimes you have a great like working relationship with somebody and it just works out.
Mhm.
But uh then again, it goes back to that thing where it's like, you don't want to work yourself too much because then you start worrying about, is this going to be good? Oh, I should probably save this for something. It's like, I don't know. I think people just need to live in the moment more
Mhm.
and not focus so much on, like, yes, obviously, if you want to be a creator, focus on what you're making, but not everything has to be work, so to speak. I don't know. That's kind of what
Gotta
I
have
was.
that life work balance.
Yeah, not everything has to be work. Like,
Yep.
I play video games a lot off stream, and I have so much fun when I stream games and when I don't stream games. And it's just, sometimes I just play Fortnite with my friends, and I don't ever think about streaming it because it's like, it's just fun to hang out with them.
Exactly. You need that time to just relax and not worry about entertaining an audience. You need time to
Yeah.
just chill and hang out with your friends and have a good time.
And sometimes when you're playing with your friends, you talk about things that you don't want to talk about, and it's
Yeah.
totally fine. It just hurts my heart whenever I'm playing with somebody and they're like, save that for XYZ. And it's like, I don't,
No.
I'm here for you. I'm here to enjoy myself, I'm here to, I don't know. Yeah.
Is it like put a pin in that conversation? We'll use that on this podcast or whatever, or something.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And obviously there's sometimes where conversations can happen later, right?
mm,
Like say
Yeah.
for example, if say I'm on a movie podcast with somebody and I'm talking to them off stream and they're like, you know what, we should save this for the show because we're talking about that movie. That's one thing.
mhm.
But it's like, if I am just talking to somebody out of nowhere and they're like, we should start a thing about this, I'm like, do we have to? We could just talk about it. Like,
We could just be friends and
like, yeah.
have normal
Like
conversations.
sometimes it is fun to make content out of the stuff you like, out of your passions, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it doesn't have to be everything. I don't know.
The other thing is you can have the same conversation twice.
Yeah.
If you really want it to be content, if you're both happy with it being content later on, you can still have the conversation in the moment.
Yeah,
And
but
it
sometimes the
might
magic
help you
is
realize
lost.
and it might help you realize something else in the meantime though, until it
Yeah.
comes to that point.
What was that, Andrew?
I was gonna say that, yeah, like you can have the conversation now, and then later on it'd be a lot more structured because now you know what your actual points are, what you wanted to say,
Yeah.
and it would actually be
Exactly.
more concise instead of like, oh, and I'm in the middle of building a giant tower in Fortnite, and I'm also talking about the nuances of this movie or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's all fair too. But also, um, but yeah, some structure. I don't know. I just think sometimes people focus too much on creation, that sometimes things get lost, and
Yeah.
it worries me. And it's just, your focus gets lost on what's really important.
Sometimes people need that reminder too, of like, hey,
Yeah. And if you're
Just
doing
enjoy
great and
yourself.
you're killing it, that's awesome, right? And but also just like, I don't know, look around sometimes, take a breather.
Yeah, everyone needs that break, or else you're gonna experience burnout, and you don't want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And like I said, this is not a criticism on anybody specific. It's just what I've noticed in this community, and also more importantly, other communities that I'm in.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why I feel comfortable talking about this. It's like the people that I really am specifically talking about will never see this. So it's like,
yeah, no, that's it's totally a valid thing to bring up, and I've sort of seen it, with people that we know what they're sort of getting into, and see some of the past and how it sort of turns out for them, and it's not always a bad thing, and maybe and sometimes as well. I think especially when starting out, when you are creating, sometimes it is kind of you throw everything at the wall and you're just waiting to see if any of it sticks. But I think sometimes that is not the healthiest approach, and not everyone can do that. I think a
Yeah.
lot of it's sometimes better to be more focused and be like a laser on a dartboard or whatever, some sort of analogy that I'm going with there. But yeah, I definitely can see that being a problem eventually for people. But the thing is, they probably don't see it. So I could see that being a difficult thing to kind of, maybe steer them one way or the other without you kind of, looking like the bad guy.
yeah. If anything, I would suggest people do, if you're gonna make content, especially with somebody, I'll try to make it something that you wouldn't normally do with like somebody. Like, say for example, not to be like I'm a genius and this is a great idea. Like trying food, for example, and talking about it. I would never just on a whim be like, let's both get a burger and try it out for the first time.
If it wasn't for me.
Well, also it was just like the stars aligned and we both realized there's a lot of stuff we haven't tried, and we're just like, what if we just did this? And that's where that came from, me and McKenna doing Megabyte, trying foods, different foods and stuff. Because it's something we wouldn't normally do. It's something we wouldn't just be like, let's try this and let's talk about it on a phone call. Like, no, it's just so weird and random. It's like, we might as well just record it.
hmm
And it's just, yeah, sometimes when it's like a very just broad conversation, like just friends hanging out type of thing, sometimes it's like, does that have to be a weekly thing? Because I've heard complaints from other podcasters too, where it's like you basically lose your friendship because it becomes your job.
No, yeah, I could see that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And this is coming from people like Rooster Teeth, or I don't think Kind of Funny said it, but like Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter, where they're like, they don't really talk off camera much because everything they talk about is on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about too. It's just like people losing friendships and it feels like work sometimes.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure if you're doing something, you don't lose focus and you're comfortable with it.
It's a great point to bring up there, and to I think it comes down to is just, especially being with friends. It's if you're doing anything with friends, is keep that balance.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's another. It's very easy to say and maybe tough to do if you're within that point of already doing too much. But sometimes it's you maybe have to have a difficult conversation, and then, or step back a bit or whatever to get yourself back on track. But it sounds like if you're willing to do that, it'll pay off big time.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of all I had to say about that.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Like-
Cheers. Thanks for
like like I said, I love everybody. Like, no disrespect to anybody. I just want to make sure
Mhm.
if people do something, they're doing it and it works out.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally valid thing to bring up, and hopefully people are conscientious of those issues that might arise, and content creation, working with friends, and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, is Avenged, Andrew, are you any of you guys wanting to go next, or are you still wanting to hold off?
I'm down to go if you don't want to go.
Okay, no,
Nicole.
on you go, Andrew. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I have two topics to talk about. One is more of an issue that I discovered about myself like at least 2 years ago. Um, and it's not so much of an eating disorder, it's more of a one of those classic like eating your feelings type things.
Hmm.
Growing up, I've always been overweight, but not like anywhere like super like crazy unhealthy. And I've always had a good mental picture of myself, and I've been a little bit active. Not well, not this year because of the pandemic, but so there's never really been an issue health. Um, but one thing I noticed one day is I was talking with one of my friends, and they noticed something that it's like so there's this food place called Cadoba, which is like a fast foodish place, Mexican style place, right, with burritos and whatever. And they noticed something. They were like, you go to Cadoba a lot, and not like a negative way. It's like, oh, you really must love that place. And then I was like, yeah, I do go there a lot. I wonder why that is. And I was looking at my banking statements one day, and I noticed that like 3 times in a week I went to Cadova for dinner, and I was like, is there a reason why I'm doing that? It's like I do love their burritos, there's nothing wrong with a good burrito, but is there something else that's going on there? And then when I was looking back to see what was going on during that week, I noticed that whenever I would have a stressful day at work, like a bad day at work, I'd call my fiance. It's like, hey, I'm gonna pick up some Qdoba for us for dinner on the way home. And then I was like, oh, so that's it. I'm using the food as a comfort because it's like a self gratification thing. I get this thing, I eat it, I feel good, blah blah blah. So one thing I say that to say this, it's like it's more of an awareness thing. It's like every once in a while, it's good to take a step back and try to figure out why you do the things you do. It could be something as simple as, oh, I every time I take out the trash, I always make sure I have the keys because maybe 5 years ago I had locked myself out once and I never want that to happen again. Obviously, that's a good reason to have your keys, but there's a reason why you did that. And sometimes that reason is not a good one. And something I always tell, like I tell people now after realizing that, and now like obviously I still eat Qdoba from time to time, but not as much as I used to, because I understand why I was doing that. Because I do that with other foods as well. Um, but it was something online where it's just like, hey, am I getting this food because I want this food, or am I getting this food because something bad happened and I'm trying to make myself feel better about it? And like I said, it's not necessarily food. I mean, that's, you could be doing that with alcohol, you can be doing that with drugs, you can be doing that with sex. It could be anything, really. Anything that gives you any type of gratification, you could be doing that. It could be something like Pokemon cards, are you doing this thing because you really want to do this thing, or are you doing this thing because you're substituting it for something else? So like once I learned that, I've been able to realize that and question myself why I'm doing certain things. And obviously, every once in a while, you might be like, oh, I really want to get this ice cream or this shake, and I do that. But it's like now I have that in the back of my mind, so I know that. I know, and then I'm like, okay, every once in a while I'll do that. Whatever. I'm getting that burrito, Reese. Don't get me wrong. But now I know that in the back of my mind of why I'm doing it, and then it helps me stop that. Um, so like I said, that's more of an awareness thing that I wanted to, bring to light because like I said, you never know what people are thinking about, and you never know unless you actually take a step back and look at what you're doing. You might realize like, hey, maybe I'm doing this because something happened in my past that that brings me up and or anything like that. And I just want to make sure like people take the time to do that. Like I said, in the US it is Mental Health Awareness Month, um, which actually kicks off to my second topic, actually being in a relationship with someone who does have a lot of mental issues. I won't get into too much details about my fiance. Like I said, if she might be interested in the show later on, I'll recommend it to her, Reese.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
But
It's, like,
she,
it's
yeah,
it's an open door policy to anyone listening. It's in the Discord. We've got our own channel. If folk want to comment a next episode, or whatever, absolutely everyone's invited. If they're interested and willing to talk about stuff, then it's only encouraged, because that's kind of like the whole point, to get people talking. And maybe if people listen, it might cause them to talk and get the benefits, and so on and so forth. And that's the idea. So yeah, it's, as I said, everyone's welcome. But sorry to interrupt. But yeah,
no, yeah, no worries. But yeah, being in a relationship with someone who does have a lot of mental health issues, it's it's not easy, um, because at the end of the day, you love the person and you want the best for them and you want to help them. But obviously, I didn't go to school for psychiatry. I'm not a licensed practitioner of that. I can't help with that kind of stuff. You want to be supportive of them, you want to help them out, but obviously, like I said, you don't necessarily have to have a diagnosed mental issue or anything like that, or depression. Everyone gets depressed. People suffer through bouts of depression all the time. I do. I know that as well, and that goes back to the whole eating thing. Um, but being in a long-term relationship with somebody with a mental health issue, there's two things you always need to worry about. One is, obviously, you're worried about them because you want to help them out, be supportive. But the thing is, you have to realize is that as much as a support you can be for that person, you can't be their everything. And this is something that my fiance has actually told me. She's like, you're one person. Like me, I have a kid who's 10 years old. She's on the spectrum of autism. She's non-verbal autistic. I have to make sure I take care of her. I have to make sure to take care of my fiance, and then I take care of myself. So that means that I have to take care of technically two other people and myself at the same time. So it's like you have to realize that you can be as supportive as you can, but at the end of the day, you know, that person also has to, work on themselves. It's not 100%. You can't just be the full support there. They have to help themselves as well as, it's not just you. Obviously everyone has their friend circle, everyone has their family, everything like that. And that's something she's taught me because I've felt bad where it's like, I really want to help you out with this stuff, but it's like I can only do so much. And it's like you're doing as much as you can with what you have. You still have to worry about your kid. You still have to worry about your own family, like my own parents, my brother, and my godson and everything like that. It's like, don't feel bad like you're not helping me out because you are helping me out as much as you can. Um, and the second part of that is while you're in any type of relationship, not even with someone with a mental health issue, just any type of relationship, you have to realize that you also need to take time for yourself, which is something what Caesar was talking about in terms of, not everything's about content. It's a little bit different, but it's kind of the same. You also have to have that time and, that type of fun for yourself. And that's also something, that I struggle with a lot because, like I said, me, what I have my identity as someone who's a hard worker. I work really hard on my job and I try to do the best that I can. And then when I'm done with my job, I try to take care of my family, try to take care of my kids, take care of my fiance, everything like that. And I wasn't taking time for myself. And that was having an effect on me both physically and mentally. Um, Physically, I was getting more sick because I was working so much. Then spend doing all the errands I had to do in my house, and that everyone has to do, and then take care of my family and my parents and everything like that. But I wasn't taking any time for myself, so I was actually physically getting more and more sick every year, and I used to never get sick. So it was causing a physical effect as well as a mental effect because I was getting more depressed and just more tired all the time. And like I said, I had to take a step back. And even my fiance was like, you need to go outside and do something with people that are not your family and just have a good time and not worry about being a fiance or a father or anything, just being Andrew Rivera. And this is around the time that I connected with Kinda NYC, which is now 61 Indie. It started off with the Kinda Funny meetup in NYC. I took a weekend off and I got a hotel in the city, and I was able to meet up with the group, and I was meet up with everybody Kinda Funny, and I had a great time. And then what I was doing is at least once a month, I was going to the city and meeting up with the 61 Indie group and just having a fun time. And it could just be something as simple as going to go see a movie together, or something as simple as going to a bar and singing in sync in front of a bunch of people.
It's gonna be
um,
me.
it's exactly. Um, and on the flip side of that, what I was trying to do more often is, a lot of my coworkers on my team are like very young, or like around my age or a little bit older, and they used to like going to the like the bars after work and just hanging out. And so what was going on with that was like I'd actually spend at least once or twice a month going out with them, because they'd always invite me, but I was like, oh, I got to go home to the kid, I got to go home with dinner, I got to do a bunch of stuff like that. I wasn't taking that time for myself. And then once I started doing that, where it's like, all right, cool, I get to be just myself for a couple of hours. And it helped me out with my health, both physically and mentally. And it helped me when I got back to being the dad or being the fiance. It helped me a lot, because then it wasn't like, okay, cool, I have my own little section here where I'm just Andrew, but then now I have my section. Now, okay, now I'm gonna spend some time with my family. Now we're gonna go, like even just yesterday, we went out for a drive up in the mountains around here just to take pictures and get some ice cream. Something simple, but it was very rewarding because I had that split now. And that's something I also wanted to bring up here, because a lot of people um, a lot of people don't take that time for themselves. You know, they put so much of the pieces of themselves in different things that they don't take the time to put it for themselves. And like I said, I'm still working on that. There's still some times where I don't do that. Um, and it's not good. But now that I've acknowledged that, I'm able to work on that and help myself, and then that just helps me be a better father and be a better friend, and be a better fiance.
Well, cheers. Thanks for sharing that. That was some great advice there. I've written down, I thought that was super poignant that you said to take a step back and to have a think about why you were, constantly going to the same place for food, and then to be smart enough to think why, and then, connect the dots. I think that is some very, very good advice if you're able to, see that correlation. Uh, and then especially because a lot of times when it comes to, even though it wasn't totally mental health, it was kind of, influenced by it. Like these things happen, it's almost like kind of boiling a frog. It's, things that it's so gradual. It's like you don't realize till it's almost too late. And you also mentioned as well, I should have mentioned at the start, is like, yeah, I don't think any of us are actual medical professionals, but I don't think anyone needs to be just to talk or encourage people to talk and have a conversation about stuff like this. But if you are needing actual medical care, if it is things are that bad, then I always encourage going to seek medical advice with professionals.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, cheers. Really, thanks for sharing your experiences, and I think that's again very true. I think it does come back to that balance. Uh, you got to take time for yourself, but you've got to you know put in time for other people as well. Or if you got your job, like that's already taken a big chunk of your time, and you got your family, it's like that's already dedicated. And if you just keep doing that and forgetting about yourself, then it's like you are literally just you're spreading yourself too thin. And you need time for yourself in order to kind of recharge. Like that's where you get your enjoyment, being yourself and doing things you enjoy, and interacting with friends, to talk to friends, or playing a video game, watching a movie, or whatever. That's for you, and that's even just doing that and getting that enjoyment. It's massively beneficial. And if you weren't getting that before, I can definitely see it why it's just physically wearing you down.
Yeah, it was like I said. I went through a dark, like a deep depression in a really dark place back in it was 2016 going to 2017, which I really had to reevaluate my life and what I wanted to do with it in terms of my friendships, in terms of my relationships, in terms of my job. Um, and it was bad. I was working like 14 hours a day, commuting 2 hours,
Mm.
both, an hour there, an hour back. I was, at that other time, I wasn't taking any time for myself because the only time was left over. I was, trying to spend with my kid, even though I was, like tired all the time. It was not good, and it could have been bad. But luckily, I was able to get out of it and reevaluate things. And it's like, I know it's the easy thing to say, try to take a step back, because it's not. You're in it, and when
Hmm.
you're in it, you're in it. It's very hard. Like I said, it's very easy to help other people with their problems. It's very hard to help yourself with your own,
Yeah, yeah, I get that. So true.
especially for someone like me who wants to help everybody and wants to like just see everybody happy. So you try to do as much as you can with everybody, and it's like if you don't take any time for yourself, there's not going to be anything left to give anybody else.
Yeah, you're making all these people happy, but you're not making yourself happy. Like
Yeah,
that's sometimes you do have to consider look after number one, because then number one can't look after everyone else.
exactly. It's a thing that I still struggle with to this day because it's like I don't think like I really don't care much about myself, which is bad because one, I have a kid that I need to help raise, and I have a fiance. I'm in this relationship, and I have a family. My parents and everything, and friends and stuff. But like I'm trying to work on that a lot because it's like before I used to go into the notion it's like, oh, if I'm not feeling great or I'm depressed, it doesn't really affect anybody except for myself. But for me, if like if something's wrong with my kid or my fiance or my parents, it's like that's the world to me. So it's like I'm trying to change that mindset, a little bit each day because like you said, it's like if I don't take care of myself, there really isn't going to be anything left for anyone else.
Yeah, I think that's incredible stuff that that your issues, because I always say that like that is the biggest part, like recognizing the problem, because well you can't fix if you don't know what's broken. But if you're aware of what is needing to change, what you need to work on, and then that's the best thing you can do is like it, you can work towards it. That's like you've got a path that you can walk down rather than just feeling completely lost. So it's like I don't think anyone's wanting you to be like perfect, the best person ever tomorrow. But what you can do is you can be a better person than you were yesterday, and you know where to go and step forward, or what to do to get there. So within time, yeah, you'll be exactly what you want to be or where you want to be. But it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be effortless. It's going to take effort. You're going to have to put in some work, but that comes back to you knowing what you need to do, and you're doing it. So I think it's incredible stuff there.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty much cover the two main things I wanted to talk about. So I think I'm good on mine, at least for now.
Okay, awesome. Caesar, Avenged, is there anything you wanted to add or ask Andrew there?
I will say, like, I don't know much about relationships, but it can be kind of harmful for yourself and for the other person when you feel like you start doing things for somebody else because you feel like your only purpose is to help them, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like, fuck, what was this recent? There was an example that happened in my life recently. where it was just like somebody. Oh, it wasn't even my life. It was just like I don't know. I'm so ingrained in Stardew Valley that it feels like real life sometimes. There's a character named Shane who's like really depressed, and there's a lot of people on Facebook groups of Stardew Valley that are like, "I love Shane. I love helping fix him," and it's like that's kind of like a problematic mentality. Like that's kind of just like the idea that you're fixing somebody. I don't know what's going on with my dog and my cat. Uh,
That's okay.
like your only purpose is to like fix them and not, be there for them.
No, yeah, I know
Um,
exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's yeah. It seems it's not exactly the healthiest of foundations starting a relationship.
Yeah, and then like say for example you fix them. What next? Do you just leave them for the next project?
Yeah, you'd be
Is
like,
that is that
he's a fixer upper. You're like, okay, we're done with this model. Let's sell him. Let's flip him and get something bigger, and better.
yeah, bigger challenge?
Yeah.
Uh yeah, relationships. Like I said, never had one, but I think it and also like for example, say you're in a breakup with somebody or whatever, and you feel like staying with them is gonna fix it because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Like no, that doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That makes things worse if anything. But because you feel like you are helping them in the situation, you don't break up with them or whatever. I don't know.
But yeah, no,
I definitely feel
yeah.
you need to think about yourself as well in the relationship, not just trying to
Yeah.
make things good for the other person. I don't know. I'm just saying things.
No,
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of
Totally, yeah.
sense.
Okay, so yeah, thanks Andrew for those things there. A lot of food for thought on two different topics, and yeah, thanks again for that. Avenger, are you want to go next?
Yeah, I can definitely go next. First, I'm just gonna get over the fact that I feel very attacked by everything that Andrew said, because I feel those things
Wait,
wholeheartedly.
what? What?
Are you in a relationship too? Or
Yeah,
are you
No,
in
no.
a marriage with like a kid and like
Are you a big
No,
fan of
just
you feel like you're a
Cordova
bad father?
burritos?
You feel like you're a bad father
yes,
as
I
well?
feel like a terrible father.
Oh God.
Anti-avenged.
Yeah.
No, just
I'm just kidding. Andrew, love you.
the whole like going to find things to comfort yourself after a bad day, even if it's not healthy for you. I completely identify with that. And also just wanting to help everyone and not worrying about yourself. And in my mind, as you were saying that, I was thinking like, well, yeah, if these people are happy, then that's the goal. That's why I don't matter as much, because you're making everyone else happy. And that's not healthy in any way. You have to focus on yourself as well. You have to make sure that you are 100% as well. Like, you don't have to be 100% because I don't think anyone actually is. Everyone has their own issues that they have to deal with, but making sure that you are good as well
Mhm.
is so important.
To quickly add on to that,
Yeah.
my mom suffers through a lot where like 99 of what she does is for other people, and I tell her like she needs to take care of herself, and she's like, I need to help somebody. I'm like, how can you
Yep.
take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself?
It's a distraction as well from
Yeah.
dealing with your own things. It's easier to go help someone else than to deal with your own issues.
Yeah.
This is why they say on the airplane that for the oxygen mask you need to put it on
Mm-hmm.
yourself first
And
instead
then your
of
kid.
your
Little
kid.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you need to be able to make sure you're okay before you focus on other people.
Exactly. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there really quick. I did have a topic that I wanted to talk about that actually just recently happened for me. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to start going through this now that it's like all around the time now of when everything was going into lockdown, at least here in the US. Um, it's called the anniversary effect. And that is when you go through a traumatic event, and on that day, you start to have issues, like you're kind of going through the same emotions and everything, even if you're okay at that point in your life, even if you are having good days, you can still feel those emotions. All of that trauma can come back and kind of mess with how you were feeling in that time. Um, and for me, that was at it was like a couple weeks ago actually. Um, I was I've been doing like a whole lot better than I was last year. I'm finally in a department that I actually truly enjoy working in. I'm working with people that bring joy to my life. I have the entire Twitch community here who make me so happy to be here.
That you're a mod of.
And
The
yeah,
entire Twitch community.
that I mod everyone for. Yeah. um, but even like having that, and I've been having like really good weeks. And then all of a sudden, it was just out of nowhere. I was losing focus. I was having a hard time waking up, going to work. I would just like break down emotionally and not have a reason why. And I was so confused. And like, even 2 days in a row, I just couldn't stop crying and feeling terrible. And I came into work the following day. It was a Friday by that point, and I was like, what is going on? Why am I feeling this way? And it started to dawn on me of like, okay, I remember this time last year and how terrible I was feeling. Let me go look at my old time cards. And I found out that that was the exact week a year ago that I had to take a week off of work because I was having a mental breakdown because of everything, between everything that was going on in my personal life, everything going on at work, the pandemic. Um, I had like just broken up with my ex at that point. I was sent home, moved to a new place by myself, all alone, um, and then working from home, taking on the entire weight of our company, just our department, to basically keep our company afloat for an entire year. And we had already kind of been burnt out as a department beforehand because they expanded so much from what we were starting to do to just doubling, tripling all of that work, and then to go ahead and double that again with having to close down our branches and everything due to COVID. We couldn't have people come inside, so we had to take all of that work on ourselves as well. And so just all of that piling onto each other was just insanely hard to deal with. And so I took that week off. And then this year, going through that, just trauma from it all, it was weird but eye-opening. And once I had actually figured out that that's what that was from, that there was actually a term for it called the anniversary effect, it helped immensely to be able to wrap my brain around it and to deal with the emotions that I was feeling, and to be able to reflect on the fact that that is where I was at that time in my life a year ago, but now I'm in such a better place. And it's thanks to, like my family, my friends, all of you guys here on Twitch. Like, things do get better if you focus on making yourself better as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very strong point as well, because with mental health, and if you're in a bad mental health, it's technically up to you to get out of it. Dwelling on it, it's not going to change. If you do nothing, nothing's going to change. It takes an effort on your behalf to do something, and it is difficult and it takes work. But that was that was the first time hearing about the anniversary effect. So thank you, Avenge, for sharing that. And it definitely seems like if it's a traumatic event, it's that's it's not uncommon for that to kind of get repeated and to knock people for six, and really kind of struggle after getting that sort of all those emotions come rushing back again. So yeah, it sucks that, considering you're in a much better place than you were last year, but it's still like the memories and all that the negativity is still reaching when you've worked so well to get past that. So it's not the greatest thing to hear. And that does really suck, and the fact that it's affecting you that badly.
Yeah, I think so when I was researching on like what the anniversary effect is, um one thing that they said is your brain runs on two different calendars. One is actual time of each day that we're going through, and then the other is emotional. So it is events like that that your brain runs on as well. And one way to kind of help with that is to put that on your calendar and kind of prepare yourself for in case anything like that happens. You're able to deal with it, know why it's happening, and to work through it because, as they say, time heals all wounds. You have to take that time to actually focus on it and work through it.
So it's like you're preparing yourself for, in case these emotions come out of the blue, you kind of know the reason why, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like a little first stage of defense against that, and it doesn't completely catch you off guard.
Yep. And it gives you something kind of to think about. I would think, at least, if you know that it's coming, you can kind of start to reflect on it and work through some of the things so it's not going to be as difficult.
Hmm.
That's interesting because something I just realized now is so with the whole pandemic and everything that's going on, it was literally around this time last year when my dad got COVID and he was in the hospital for like 3 weeks. Luckily he survived and he's a lot better now and everything like that. But it was interesting because a couple weeks ago, my brother was like, "Hey, we're gonna surprise Dad with like a surprise dinner and take him, to the casino and have a good time." And then it was such a weird time, like date wise, of why it happened, and it literally is a year from when he first went into the hospital.
Um,
Mm.
that sounds horrible. uh,
Yeah.
that sounds like not to interject or anything. It already happened, already passed. But that sounds like a horrible idea for somebody that just went to the hospital like a year ago. Because we're still in it, I would think, and that's kind of, I don't know. I feel like people are going like Nicole, with the anniversary effect with COVID. People kind of are going through that or did go through it earlier. I, I feel like I wouldn't experience something like that because while I did have a really rough start to the pandemic, I still feel like I'm in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like I still
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
this is not over yet, and I still feel like once it is over, maybe the next March, when I won't be expecting it, is when it's all gonna hit me like a ton of bricks. Like this, this happened. I lost my job. So many people died. So many people I know got sick, and yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that. And
And
yeah, it's completely understandable. It doesn't have to be like, even though it's called the anniversary effect, it doesn't
it
have to be each
over.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it doesn't have to be over for you to feel it. It's whenever your body decides that it's time
Yeah.
to go through it again.
I definitely know somebody that kind of went through an anniversary effect. My cousin, when her grandmother died,
Mm-hmm.
she kind of just wanted to forget about it, so she totally forgot the anniversary of when she died.
Yep.
And then when it was that month of the year after where she was having like panic attacks and stuff,
Yep.
and it wasn't until like she looked at the calendar and she didn't learn. I don't know if she did, but I didn't learn the term calendar effect. But I definitely realized like every year or not when similar events happen
Mm-hmm.
post post them initially happening, like traumatic events, it can have an effect on you.
Yep. It very much
Yeah,
can.
yeah. That happens with around this time is when my fiance's grandmother passed away, who more or less raised her, and literally every time, the same week, every year, she feels depressed and everything like that. But what we've been trying to do every year, in the past couple of years, is instead of it being more of a negative type of time, we do something really like small, where it's like, okay, we're gonna actually, celebrate your grandmother, and like we get like a small little piece of cake with a candle, and do more of a like a birthday celebration instead of anything like that. But like that whole time of year stuff, the internal calendar is real, because it'll sneak up on her, and then she'll be like, "Oh, that's the reason why I'm depressed at this time, because my body's remembering that death from back."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it seems like a smart idea to make it, something to look forward to. Be like, oh, this Saturday we're going to, and yeah, we're gonna have some cake, or maybe we're gonna watch our favorite movie, or, I don't know, just something, fun, something positive, rather than kind of wallowing in it, and it's like a run up to it for I just like a super negative day. You can be,
Yeah.
something that's something positive to look forward to, and do something nice about it.
I know what you're saying, but the phrase "look forward to" sounds really weird in this context.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh hell yeah, it's the
Yeah.
anniversary of Grandpa's death. Let's
it,
fucking watch a movie. Like,
yeah, but it's like
but
Right.
I know what you
you
mean.
laugh
Yeah,
about it, but it's like, you got to, celebrate it. And it's like, what better way to, like, maybe watch his favorite movie, his favorite TV show or something, and be like, oh yeah, I remember watching this with him, he had a laugh and stuff, and it brings up good positive memories, rather than just remembering that they're not with you anymore. But
mm.
like, yeah, I get it. It's I think it is a difficult thing, especially for someone that was meant so much to you and you spent so much time with, to remember that day of their passing and be, in a positive light. I think it's, again, very much easier said than done.
Yeah. And it's also important to say that it's okay to have those sad feelings and to go through the darker feelings as well. Not everything has to have a positive spin, as long as you are trying to find the good in things as well. Like, it's okay to feel dark inside as long as you can find the light again.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's well, as Caesar says, it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
exactly.
it's emotions like that. It's definitely, it's a two-way street. You can't have the dark for the light, or vice versa. But sometimes, if you can, it's okay to, feel sad, be upset for things. But I think if you're able to, laugh again, or have fun again, it's, again, that's totally acceptable, and it will happen. It's always peaks and troughs, ups and downs. It's never rock bottom all the time, or
Mm-hmm.
it's never, picture perfect all the time as well. It's you've got to kind of take things as is, and if when you got the good times, kind of just live it up, and stop and smell the roses. But then, when things are at the lowest, it's definitely like, you can self-reflect on things and focus on how to get better and get out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's exactly right. You'll be hearing from my lawyers, by the way, Reese.
I did, I infer, like I said, as you said, it was a quote. It was a quote.
It was
Oh.
cited sources.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
I had
heard
a,
those
I had a
better-
reference
I-
before.
Yeah. Mhm.
I better get some revenue from the
You'll get my my ad revenue from this stream.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
I'm
There you go.
happy to give that to you.
Thank you for the 10 cents in advance.
Yeah, it'll be like a tenth of a cent.
Yeah, 10%.
Yeah.
10%.
In
So
like 20 years, you might get a penny. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
invest in Doge.
Yeah.
God.
So is there anything that anyone wants to ask Avenge after that, or comment on, or
Uh,
about what she said?
No, it was very, very insightful. It's making me think about a lot of things on my end in terms of,
The
like I said,
anniversary?
it's always anniversary and just why do we do the things we do?
Mhm.
It's a very poignant thing to think about.
yeah. It definitely made me think a lot about everything.
That's good. Fair. Thanks, Avenge, for your contribution. So I think next up is me, but also we've been going for over hours. So do you guys want to take a break, or do you want me to go first, and we can take a break after?
Whichever's good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
either way.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think I'll just get mine out the way, so it's kind of all the heavy stuff's out, and then when we come back from the break, we can just talk about whatever we want and some fun stuff and decompress, as I always say.
Or let's hear about this beef now with Caesar.
Oh no, the beef's already he's eaten the beef already. He just needs to eat more of it.
Gone.
He needs to eat more
Yeah.
of it.
Need more beef.
Exactly. Okay, with me, I've written some stuff down, but even when I write stuff down, I tried making a list, but it's kind of all over the place. So bear with me if it is extremely scattered. But I think the first things first with me in talking about this, I'm very much an introvert. I'm never the life of the party. I always kind of feel that I keep to myself. I enjoy my own company. As I was in like my early 20s, I think that's when I was kind of diagnosed with actual anxiety and stuff. So look, once I had that, a lot of stuff in my past started to make sense, and like how I behaved and why I did certain things. So I've always felt like when in like a group of friends, I feel like I'm the one that I kind of speak when spoken to, and at sometimes I feel like on maybe bigger gatherings, I feel like I'm like the filler friend, like I'm just there for the occasion, but I felt like I don't. Most folk wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, Reese is essential for this party to get started," or something like that. And I've kind of been thinking of that recently, because even though like that's what it's like in my real life, when kind of joining Twitch and all the KFBFs and everything that goes with it, it does feel for me that I'm kind of like that again. I feel like I'm the filler. I kind of feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things. I feel like I'm on the outside of a lot of things. Like there's certain Discord chats, or there's certain things happening on Twitter, and it feels like I'm not getting included in the. But again, then I don't know. It's like if anyone knows or has a reason or like a specific suspicion why, because is it like thinking about is it me? Is it that's just because that's how I am as like an introvert? I kind of keep to myself, or does that make me not? Am I like not supported enough in other people's communities or whatever they do online? Because there's other stuff as well that like I don't want to like name names or anything, but there was essentially there's people we know that did mental health related podcasts or streams, and like I wasn't invited to them, or I was like the last to know about them. And I feel like there's a lot of things like that. It's like that I feel like I'm almost missing out on because no one's telling me about it. And I like, to me, like that's everything like I'm sort of doing. It's like with this channel, like it's the first thing I'm saying, like, I'm trying to destigmatize mental health. I thought at least my name would have been, considered and maybe getting included in more of these things, but they weren't. So maybe that's me just overthinking things. That's me just like super focusing on like a negative and then, kind of teasing that out to make it way more worse than like it actually is. But like as I said, that was just something that was floating in my head. And then another thing off the back of that, it's like, well, I would say I'm, mental health advocate. And then another thing I'd say I'm a charity streamer. And I know this is the worst thing to do, compare yourself to others, but I honestly I can't help it. Seeing the amount of people the people that we know that do a charity stream, just like a one-off, and like as much as I am mega super proud and whatever their achievements are, and like pretty much from I like to think at least most of them, if I'm aware of, I've contributed to them. I always make a big part when I see that to, if I can, definitely help. But then at the same time, it's like these people are doing a stream for, one day, 12 hours, and they're earning more than what I've done throughout a year. So it really makes me question, like, am I even like, am I making a difference if or am I just kind of wasting my time with that things? Or is it my fault that people don't know that I'm a charity streamer, or is it just not a good cause that I've got just now, or it's or is this again, does this revert all the way back to me being introverted and, you know, kind of keeping to myself and people not wanting to, they don't think of me when it comes to that? Is that my fault for not making more people aware what I'm up to? Or I don't know. It's just that's kind of been on my mind for a little while. Um, Switch
No,
is. No,
I think you and I are going through the same thing right now. Whereas I didn't know how to say this right, but we're both experiencing like bouts of jealousy.
hmm,
Like kind of not like rightfully so to speak, but like it just feels like, I put so much into this. Why am I not seeing anything? Like for
mhm,
example, I try to get out there and try to talk to people, and I'm not invited onto as many things as I would like to be a part of. XYZ, this person says they're my friend. Okay, well, why didn't you invite me to be a part of this?
yeah,
And uh, it sucks, but sometimes I think some of it comes down to like when it comes to like invitations to be a part of things. I think the pool is there's a lot of people. Oh, who was that? Uh, Was that me?
hmm?
What did
No,
somebody
you're
leave the
good.
call?
You're good.
Oh no,
Um,
you're still here.
Yeah, sorry,
um.
something weird happened on my end.
Oh, okay. I it's weird, right? I think sometimes it's just a matter of sometimes people just don't think of you as you think of them,
Yeah, like that.
so to
Like I
speak.
definitely, I know. Like another thing that comes from it. It's like I do have anxiety and stuff, and I know I'm the worst when it comes
Yeah,
to thinking the worst case scenarios. As in, like I can jump to the worst case scenario straight away, and it's a lot of it is assuming. It's a lot of me presuming what people are thinking of me, and
yeah,
then me taking that idea and running with it when that's not even been the truth at all. It's like you can never assume what people are thinking. It's
yeah.
if
And it,
it's like it's because you'll be wrong. Like 99.9% of the time, it's like sure, there's a possibility what you think, like that could happen. They could think that, but
yeah,
unless you ask them, you'll never know. So if you don't ask them, then you're just running with this assumption in your head, this that's toxic, and it's like infecting you with this negativity. And so I don't know if it's probably playing a
yeah.
big part, but at the same
And
time, it's
I,
like I dwell on myself, and as I said, the worst thing to do is I'm comparing myself to others, but the way I'm doing it as with what I see myself and what I want my sort of, you know, quote unquote brand or my presence, my community to represent, and then I'm seeing other people just do it as a fraction and do it like 10 times better
yeah,
than I've been doing it. And it just really throws me for a loop, and I'm just like what can I do differently? Yeah, like whose fault? Like what's my fault, or what's the fault here? What can I change? And I'm just kind of asking all these questions of myself
Hmm.
and questioning whether if I'm even making a difference, if I should carry on. And it's just, yeah, I think it's just in that mindset, it's difficult to get out of. And when I do kind of almost convince myself, like, oh no, I'm doing well. I'm happy with what I got. And well, to get anything like low key is amazing. But at the same time, seeing it just comes back to comparing people. I'm just like, "Oh, why can't I, like, why am I not successful? Like, for like essentially it's like what have they done that I can't do, or whatever." And then there's just another couple of things that I just sort of wanted to say. I think
Hmm.
another big one is just the amount, because again, I think this maybe comes back to me being introverted, but I feel like I get this across, just how guilty I feel about not being able to be there for people, for their communities, their Twitch streams, their, Discords and stuff like that. Because the amount of people we know, like the community, I'd say, well, about 85% of them are doing their own content and trying to keep up with that, trying to, be in all their Twitch chats. It's like, unless you're avenged, it's like nigh on impossible for me. And I just really struggle with that. And it gets to like the point when, say, once I'm finishing a stream, I'm like, oh, I need to raid someone. It's almost like panic attack inducing. Like I'm scrolling through all these people and I'm like, who do I support? I can't, like, if I could, I'd be like, oh, whatever, all these people who are here now, I want you to check out this person, this person, this person at the same time. But that's just not how it works. And also, again, it's like, oh, I want to support this person by rating them. But I know that these people, half of them says, oh, I'm going to go to bed, or this person's not playing Stream Raiders, or oh, I'm just lurking anyway. And I'm like, I don't want to give someone a raid for they're not going to support the person who I support. And there's times where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to turn it off. I'm not going to rate anybody, and I feel bad for doing that as well. Um, and then I think the final thing I kind of just wanted to get out there, and I know this is maybe going to be pretty difficult to talk about because of how mental it sounds, but I think I'd be hypocritical not to talk about this, considering like this is the whole point of the podcast. So if you think this is stupid and want to laugh, then yeah, you've totally got permission to. But I've got like this weird thing where I'm too scared to jump into like big people or big streamers' streams, or people who I acknowledge and, admire and think are awesome. Like, put it this way, like I've been like a fan of Kind of Funny from day one, and whenever they and when Andy Cortez joined and stuff like that, like, so I've seen him for his first day when he's jumped on, walked on the background, introduced himself and all that, and seen all the progress he's done. And I can't like get myself to like go in his stream or even give him a follow, because I feel like I'm so beneath him, and he's just that much better on like everything, that it's like I feel almost guilty like hanging out in his stream at all. I feel like I'm not worthy. And it's the same thing. I feel like that with on the game's daily streams with Snow White Bike, and now even with like MC Fixers. Like essentially, I don't think I would be here without MC Fixer. He found my channel on it was like a Sunday shout out on the Kind of Funny Reddit. He found what I posted. He jumped into my channel. He hung out for a bit. He gave me a follow, and introduced me to everyone else. And I would hang out in streams. I was like a sub for him for ages, but I had to cancel all my subs when I did the when I decided that I was going to gift a lot of subs to, random people for just that one off or a week. And I feel now that he's kind of blowing up, and he's everything he does is like, everyone says he's like the hardest working person, and everything he does is he puts out so much stuff. And he was getting review PlayStation 5s for everyone, and he was getting this Xbox Series X and all that stuff, and he's just, everything is going like amazing. And now I feel like, oh shit, like before he was, I don't want to say like small, but he was like almost like approachable. And now I feel like he's up there. I just feel like almost like a fake fan for like jumping in now, or I don't know. That's a weird thing to kind of get across, is like with these people who I actually kind of know and admire and think positively of, and I feel like I'm not worth their time or whatever, anything like that. It's awkward, and I probably haven't put it across fully, but yeah, that's that's pretty much everything I kind of wanted to talk about and get out into the open there.
I I think as far as like to go back a little bit, the charity one,
Hmm.
I think people are enticed by scarcity. So what that means is basically like we only have 24 hours to donate to this charity. And I'm gonna make this an event. I'm gonna, you can put stuff on my face, you can destroy my room if you donate this amount of money or whatever. I think people really enjoy that.
Mm.
So when you make it a daily thing, you make it part of the routine.
Hmm.
People are like, this is whatever. Or not that this is whatever, but it's like it's to be expected sort of thing. So when you mix it up and like it is a charity stream once a month or once every 2 months or whatever, that's when people
Hmm.
find it interesting. I also think a lot of people pick charities that are of the moment. And I know COVID is like the moment, but some people, not that they're tired of it, but they just want to like, they have other things they want to focus on. Whether it is like the conversation of the moment, like say Black Lives Matter or AAP hate
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
AAPI hate.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? Uh,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
or if it's personal as well. If it's something that hits the personal streamer at home personally. I don't know. I think when it becomes part of the daily routine, people will just kind of
Yeah,
ignore it.
it just flows over them. It's they
And
kind of.
it's you do a great job with it. Don't think you didn't do anything. The amount of money you raised has very much so saved the lives for sure.
Hmm.
So don't think you didn't do anything with that because you've raised more money for COVID than I have. And it's like that's not a little thing. Like that's you saved tons of lives. So don't fret on that front. I just do think like people are more enticed by scarcity, which is why you don't see as many people donating to yours as they do to like say a 5-hour stream. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yada yada yada.
Yeah,
One
I
thing I'll
mean,
say on that.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, go
No, no,
ahead.
go.
So, one thing I'll say is to kind of compound on that is the whole scarcity thing is they do only have that limited time to donate towards
Hmm.
such and such. So they probably think, oh, let me donate here because, Reese, he has it going all year. That's fine. I can donate whenever. So maybe that kind of helps play into that as well. I will say, though, that do not doubt that what you are doing is not helping. It is 100% helping. You are being a constant help. Just
And
because someone else is raising these crazy amounts of like numbers in a day or 12 hours or whatever. Yes, that is good, but you are also making a difference. And you're making a difference every single day. And that's
and,
nothing to laugh at.
and like somebody may raise like 1,000 something a day or like, but that's just once.
Yeah.
You're doing it every day,
Yes.
and like every month you raise a good chunk of money. That adds up, and it's
Mm-hmm.
consistent.
Yep. And they may do a charity stream once or twice or maybe 5 times a year where you're doing it every single day, every
Mhm.
single year.
That's not to say one is better than the other, but you are definitely
No.
not insignificant
Mm-hmm.
at all. You're
Exactly.
making a difference,
Yep.
and it is good work. Work that a lot of people don't do,
Yep.
and you're doing it.
I will say if I ever want to do a charity stream, which I have thought about before, if I want any advice on it, I'm gonna be coming to you.
Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, like, the idea of raising money for charity as a whole, any amount of money helps somebody. And so, like, even if it's $1 to $1,000, any step forward in that direction is always like, I remember a couple years ago, they were having an autism walk in my town. And so what I did was I what I did was I had it where we could buy, I got these shirts made, um, and like you would buy the shirt and then we donate that to the like obviously we would the actual cost of the shirt was one thing and an additional like $10, and then that part would be to go to the charity with whatever anyone else is giving at the time as well, any additional donations. And doing all that was a lot of work, and we raised a decent amount of money, but it's also like I kind of get the both sides of what you're feeling, where it's like, oh, I'm doing all this work, and I did raise a good amount of money, but also it's like there's lots of people who are raising even more. It's like there's like because the thing is like there's like a whole like giant list, and they read out a whole bunch of donators, and I was like, oh, I feel really good. We donated this much, and it's like, okay, this group donated like $30,000, and I was like, whoa, what the heck,
Yeah,
what the heck is going on?
yeah.
Um, but it's like at the end of the day, you're still helping somebody, and it's like, but it's also the thing. It's like I did a one-time charity thing that took 2 or 3 months to do, and then we did the actual walk, and it was great. And everyone had because I was doing it for my daughter, and my daughter's name is Lily, so it was like Team Lily Pad, and I had a frog on the shirt. And I still have that shirt. So anytime I see it in my closet, I was like, I remember this time that we did all this work and we raised money for charity. But it's like I said, I did that once. You're doing this, 365, every year after year. Like don't ever think what you're doing is not helping somebody, because it is.
Mm, yeah. Cheers, thanks. For a bit of perspective, a bit. I think. Well, as I said, like that's the whole point of talking about this and getting it out, and have others say, other perspectives that you're not thinking at the time. I was just locked in on
Mhm.
just why, and thinking of others, and like beating myself up for like oh, the amount of times I do, like a 12-hour stream, like for fun, and sometimes I can do that and not get any donations. So like that is, I think I'm just comparing my worst with like their best, and yeah, I think just doing comparisons is. What was that quote? I think Troy Baker said it, and then Josh said it on the Waypoint podcast. It was something like, uh, "Comparison is like the thief of joy," or something poetic like that,
Yeah.
and it's pretty true.
It's
Yeah.
very true.
And I'd say, like, going back to like the whole people are not inviting you to stuff. I don't think that's an issue with you
Yeah.
either, because as much as it would be great to control people and
Hmm.
like have the world revolve around you.
Hmm.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't have everybody like you. Everybody is not gonna like you. Everybody is not gonna love you, and everybody's not gonna hate you either.
Yeah.
And everybody's not gonna invite you onto their stuff. And they still like they're still probably your friends, right? But sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it's
Hmm.
nothing personal because they're going through their own stuff too.
Yeah.
And it's
And
just yeah. Go ahead.
another thing to keep in mind is maybe that's not the time for you. Maybe it's sometime in the future. Or, I will say one thing that probably plays into it a lot is time zones.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
a huge part of the community is here in the US, and being that 5 hours apart can be very hard to think like, oh, we should invite Reese, but I don't know if the time's gonna work out for him or anything like that.
Well, I know as
Even
well as
just
anybody
here.
how difficult time zones can be.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Mm.
Try to
It-
organize this.
What time is there? Isn't it like 1 in the morning over there?
Yeah, it's 9:30 here, but I could
Yeah.
even hazard a guess of what time it's over there. We've got two different time zones, and honestly, every time I Google it and I think I've nailed it, Caesar will be like, "Oh no, you're like an hour off on this one." I'm like, "Oh, damn it!"
Oh no, you were right
Well,
though.
no,
Yeah,
I was
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
It was me. It was me who
Yeah.
had it wrong. That's not you.
But
Um,
still wasn't 100% correct, but yeah. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I think yeah, that's why I like doing this so much. It's I get to kind of have a clear out of my mind and show you some stuff, and people can be like, well, hang on a sec, this you're thinking about this, which isn't the case, and you should stop. Think about this, which you haven't included in this picture, and that's why I'm just such an advocate for talking. The amount of times I say it, and folk are probably sick of me saying it and stuff, but until you do it, and you'll see the benefits yourself. But I think on that note, because we've been talking for like an hour and a half, you guys wanted to go on like a 10-minute break,
yeah, that's fine.
and I'll catch
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll catch up with chat and see what they're saying. If anyone said anything, we can hang out for a bit, and hopefully you can catch up with chat as well or whatever. But yeah, so let's pause it for there, and then maybe have a think about what fun stuff you want to talk about afterwards. I think are we all ready? Is everyone back? Has everyone had a little cheeky break?
Nah.
Everyone have a nice stretch, get some water.
What's water?
H2O.
Never heard of it.
H2O.
You got some seltzer beverage here.
Is
That'll
it
work.
hard seltzer?
Hmm?
Is
Have
it
an
hard
empty Mountain
seltzer?
Dew. Does that count?
It's like something about a claw or something like that.
Oh, is
Tastes like
it?
garbage.
Is it white?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've heard there's no
Huh.
laws when you drink that stuff.
Yeah, but it should be illegal. It's just nasty.
What flavor
anyways.
is it?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because
It does. It does
does.
matter.
Because if it's raspberry, it's horrible. But if it's black
The only one I've
cherry,
had is lemon.
oh, I've not had lemons.
That,
Yeah,
that doesn't
lemon's
sound like it would be
fine
good.
if you like lemon. If you're
I
Not
love
a
lemon,
dog.
dude. And that shit
oh
was gross.
snap! Oh no!
He's got a lemon in his mouth right now. It's fine.
Funnily enough, I have a candy. I was actually like sucking on a candy that's like lemon salt.
Mm.
Perfect.
Oh.
And it
He's
was
like, I need to wash that white claw out my mouth.
With some more lemon. It's fine.
with some decent lemon taste.
Get that back. Okay, so is there anything? So I just use the second half of this just to talk about whatever you want, decompress after whatever we just gone through. Just vibe, just chill, just chat with amongst friends.
I
So
have
what's
a topic.
so what's everyone been playing or watching? Games you're currently
Just been on
playing,
that.
things you're currently watching or watched or recently.
Just been on that Hitman Reborn grind.
Still in the Hitman Reborn.
Yep.
I suppose. Well, how many episodes is it again? Isn't it 700?
Oh, it's like 200 something.
Oh, okay. It's not as bad, but it's still.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
And how far are you
About
in?
Almost halfway.
Okay, so it's like
We're getting there.
if like
Mhm.
you could maybe watch like 4 episodes a night or something, you could last, like
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks and you'll be caught up. No problem.
Yep.
Or maybe on one weekend you might be like, you know what, I'm gonna like see if I can watch 20 episodes, and that's just your day. Brilliant.
That would require me to have like actual time. I don't know what all this free time is you think I have.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're Twitch moderator. You're just a Twitch moderator of Twitch and everything
I mean,
encompassing.
when you own Twitch, I mean, do you really do anything else?
Oh god, it sounds so stressful. That's
You know, Events says that they sleep 5 hours, but I think that's not the.
Sleep. What is this
yeah, I
sleep
was
you're
gonna just
talking
say
about?
it's like yeah.
I know what naps are.
My God, that's that doesn't sound fun. All this lack of sleep and all this moderation. It sounds like yeah, like if I was to do that within a week, I'm pretty sure I'd have like a heart attack.
You should give it a try. It's pretty fun.
I
Keeps you on
never
your toes.
I'm a mod in Alice's chat and I never wanted to be. It was just because I think she was doing something and I think for some reason it felt like every 5 minutes there was bots in the chat and Trix wasn't there surprisingly. So she's like, you know what, you're gonna have to deal with it and not me. And I was like, no. And yeah,
Ah.
even dealing with that is like I'm like happy to talk in the like in the chat talking about stuff and then like something happens and I was like, oh wait, should I do something about this? Someone just said something. Were they being funny? And I'm like, oh my God, this is like too much pressure. And it's like you end up like second guessing what people if they're just made like a bad joke or if they're actually trying to be horrible.
Oh, I still do that. So you're not alone.
Yeah,
Just
but
like, do
that-
they know this person? What's going on?
Yeah.
Is this like an inside joke?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And yeah, but like I'm like that on one channel who when she only goes live maybe like 2 or 3 times a week and you're there 24/7 in like 69 different channels at the same time.
mhm.
It's
What's wrong with you?
well, do you mean I'm doing it wrong? If you're not
Time
doing
to
that,
get good.
you're not doing Twitch. You're not twitching right.
Gotta learn to twitch better.
Well, you need to do lessons. Make
Get
a
good?
make a YouTube
You gotta
series.
get good, yeah.
A YouTube series of oh gosh.
Get good in Twitch. That kind of goes back to Caesar's thing of every having a conversation and making it content.
So I think I should add context to that, or especially like talking about who I was talking about.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I just realized it could look like I was talking about
Everybody.
anybody really.
no, but I think that's the
I have
I
no,
like the
to
fact
make
that it's
it
quite
clear
open ended.
that I was not talking about anybody in this community. I have a group of friends in real life that
IRL.
live together, and they decided
What?
to like record everything. They're not attached to the Kind of Funny community at all. They don't want me to help them at all. They just want to do this on their own. And I have seen their friendship crumble before my eyes. And it's
Wow.
just been the worst. It's been horrible for me and my friends to go through this, and it's just like, yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird to see like these friends that I went to college with, and they're just like they used to do everything together, and now they don't want nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
I
that
feel like
sounds
I need
pretty
to
rough.
throw that in there that I was not really was not talking about anybody.
There's so many people in the chat like, oh my God, Caesar's got beef with
Look,
us.
No, not necessarily that, but I was just
Everyone
my
on
anxiety
Twitter.
got to me.
Yeah.
My anxiety got to me because really it could have been about anybody. But
But I quite
just
like
wanted
that.
to-
I like the fact you're just like, yeah, there's people, there's an
But-
imposter out there, and I don't like it.
I
and
also
you'll
don't
never
want people to
know.
be like, was that about me? I don't want people to in there to be like, was that about me or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I specifically, and I've told them about this too. It's like this
Uh-huh.
fucking hurts for me that you two hate each other now because you both were best friends.
Yeah, yeah, but hopefully
but-
it's maybe it's just a passing thing within time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe they see the errors of their ways and get back to being friends again. Sometimes after something like that, maybe just a little break will do them good. I like to.
And like I said, sometimes everything doesn't have to be content. You could just be friends. But if you want it to be content, I hope everything works out and you make it enough of a difference from your real life to creation life, work life, I guess.
Mhm.
Just I hope you have that much of a difference in that scenario where it does work out beautifully.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Um,
it's true.
But to go back to like what we've been watching,
Oh yeah.
I finished Invincible,
Yes, that's
And
what I
I've
was gonna say.
and I might start watching The Boys because I saw the first episode, and fuck, that was really weird.
I
how it ended.
yeah, The Boys. It's a good watch. I think over like a 2 week period, I maybe watched like season 1 and 2. Like, but I was like every night I was watching like 2 episodes at least, and then I think maybe
The
one Sunday I watched like 4.
it's they're interesting shows because they're definitely like superheroes, but if they were in our world,
Yeah,
like if things had consequences.
I feel like I like the thing is I wish like I almost this is going to sound stupid. I imagine having a conversation with like my family about if they said, "Hey, what you been watching, son?" and then I try to pitch them Invincible in a way where they would want to watch it.
Oh, I
And
pitched it to my dad.
in my head I'm trying to think, yeah, it's kind of like superheroes but grounded, and there's consequences to their actions that are bad, and it's intriguing and it feels real, and
Hmm.
it's just I'm terrible with words and trying
It
to describe
The
that.
way I pitched it to my dad, and he kind of does want to watch it now, is what if Superman had a son?
Yeah,
And the superheroes in this world, it's not like Marvel, it's not like DC where you hit them and they just bounce off of that. Because like Thor's hammer, it's not gonna hit somebody and they're gonna be fine. They're not gonna walk it off.
yeah,
They're gonna blow up into a million
yeah,
pieces.
exactly. It's like, yeah, they're
So
just,
what if like those things were kind of real and like they had consequences? And I kind of explained it to him like this a little differently, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm down to watch it whenever I have
because
time." Because when I pitched it to him, he was too tired to watch it.
yeah, I think
But
something like that, I think it's a lot of it. It's like watch the first episode, just please. I don't care if it's a
watch it
cartoon.
all the way through. Yeah,
Yeah, watch it all the way through, and then you tell me that you
which
don't
is
want
what
to
I
watch
like
the
about
second.
Invincible. I like that about Invincible. It's like you watch the first episode all the way through and you get the show.
Hmm.
There are other shows that I've seen where it's like, oh, but you need to watch the first 5 episodes, or you need to watch the first season or whatever. And it's like, I don't like I have time for that, but I don't. My mind does not have that kind of like patience
Yeah,
to have to sit through all of this
because I think
to finally decide
it was
whether I like
back
it.
in the day. I think was kind of funny, and Greg talking about Invincible, and I think I finally snapped as like, fuck, I'm gonna try and read the comic and stuff. And I remember reading the comic and kind of enjoying it. But I think when it gets before it gets to the twist, essentially at the end of episode 1, that happens like quite a few like sort of chapters and volumes
I think they
in.
said it was like chapter 11 or something like that.
Yeah, so
Volume
it's
11.
like it is like
Which is funny because they had said it was going to be later.
oh,
Initially, it was
okay.
going to be way later, but the publishers were like, you need to push this up because nobody's going to be interested if it's too late.
Yeah, I think, but I think it works. I think it's, um, I feel like because that's the thing. I think with when I read the comic book, I absolutely once it kind of got it clicked, I absolutely devoured it, and I would spend just
Hmm.
ages just like powering through all the chapters because I think I had like maybe like 4 or 5 years to sort of catch up on, and then I got to like a certain point, and I think I kind of I stopped. But because I read it so much so quickly, and it's been such a long space of time, this all feels kind of brand new. There's only certain things like that, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that happened there, or I don't remember like the individual details and stuff like that. But like I've got like just a vague idea, but a lot of the surprises are still hitting, so I'm quite pleased with that. And I'm very excited that it's renewed for season 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's I do have issues with the show. There are just pacing issues, and there's like side stories that I just do not care about
Hmm.
that they put too much focus on. Like, there's a character in the show named Robot, and he had a whole side story, and the whole time I was like, I don't fucking care. I don't.
I
Sorry
think.
if I'm not
Oh
allowed
no,
to curse.
so everyone's allowed to swear. Like,
But like
uh,
I'm just like I just don't
I
care, and I know this has ramifications. I
yeah,
know this has a meaning or whatever, but I really just do not care.
I think of what I remember, I like the story way more in the comic because I think it was teased out a lot more, and
Yeah.
you had no idea what sort of robot was up to. And when it was kind of revealed, it was like it was. I think it was a bigger deal because it'd gone on for so long, and now I think that side is definitely a bit rushed. But I still quite like robot
And there's
and
a
where they're
scene in the
going.
there's a scene in the season finale that had to do with robot. Like not really a spoiler, really, but like there's a scene, like the last scene robot's in. If you can remember what that is,
Oh, is that
uh,
is this the
the
thing you
Guardians of the
tweeted
Globe
about?
scene.
Is this
I
the
fucking hated that scene because it
yeah,
felt rushed.
that
Like
was
that.
like that
It,
that
it
the episode would have been better if that like 30 seconds wasn't included and it wouldn't have
yeah.
changed a damn thing.
The whole show has like pacing issues where there's like stories in there
They
that
get in the
like
way.
they'd be great if they're fleshed out, but because of like the way the pacing of the show is, it just doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's kind of I think maybe I feel like that could because it was a season 1 thing. I think they
Yeah,
had certain
they really
beats.
wanted to sell the show really quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they had certain things that they wanted to show and to do well, and in order to get that, they had to rush kind of through that. Because I think definitely in the comic books there was a lot of more of the sort of the teen team or the sort of other guardians. I think and was it Rexplode or whatever, and
Oh my god, don't get me started on Rexplode.
yeah, and duplicate and stuff like that. It's like they had, I think, a bigger chunk that was part of it. It was almost even, if I remember correctly, as in like Invincible spent like a lot of time with them and knew them, and you kind of became aware of them more. And so when they did have certain things happening to them in the story, it was much more impactful rather than like it's like they're almost like a side just a side story that it's just got like a sliver of content and it doesn't add too much if they were to be completely disappeared. It's definitely like it felt like that stuff was getting in the way when to the main stuff is Invincible and his dad, so to speak.
Mhm.
But yeah, I loved it
Def-
and um
I'm,
I can't
I'll
wait for
definitely
more.
watch the next season, but like yeah, there's a lot of things. But I definitely do. I know I said I have issues with the show. It's a great show. And it's definitely something people should definitely consider checking out.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I know it's definitely not perfect. But I've got a feeling that I think when it comes to season 2 and 3, I think they're gonna, sand off those rough edges, and I think it's really gonna show. Well, fingers crossed, like that's how they do it. Now that I think Amazon know how the support that so many people enjoy it and what they expect from it, so hopefully they kind of give it a bit more love and attention that it deserves.
Yeah, and then The Boys is kind of like the same show, but it's very different too. From the first episode that I saw, it's just the elements are there of it being very similar, but it's also very different. Where it's just like these are superheroes in the real world.
Yeah.
Like they are corrupted. They are not perfect. They are assholes. They are very self-interested. It's a for-profit market.
Yeah, it's a
It's just very
business.
it's a business being a superhero. They have theme parks. They're making money off of like their image, and it's very weird. And it's very people die on their watch and they don't care, and it's just really
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
it
weird thing to see as what you think heroes are and
yeah.
represent, and then to see them like this, it's like, oh, but
It's a show that I saw the first episode, and I have to really think about if I'm gonna watch it or not, type of thing. Or it's like I don't know if I have that kind of like capacity right now to ingest it.
That
Maybe I
show
probably
goes
will,
places. That show goes places. I'll tell you that
but
much.
like it's definitely a thing where it's like it took me a while to watch Invincible before I was like I like this show,
hmm
and I got into the show, but I wasn't sure if I liked it. Uh, and it's kind of the same thing with The Boys, where it's like I know what the show is and I know why people love it. I don't know if I can watch it right now, and so it's like I'm definitely gonna have to sit on that one. But
Yeah, I think
sorry, I rambled.
no, it's like that's the whole point of this part. It's absolute free for all. There's no wrong topics or wrong things to be said. But I think there it definitely with the boys, it's at times it's kind of tough, and I think at the start I think it starts really quick and then it kind of has like a bit of a lull and then it goes into a direction that you're like, okay, now I'm kind of back with it. It's a bit more up and down, but there
Mhm,
is. I think it's worth sticking with it.
mhm.
It's a fun one, and I think if you enjoyed Invincible, I think it's similar sort of tones. I think maybe the penny might drop on the second or third episode where you'll be like, okay, I think I'm in. Um, I think you'll stick with it. I think so. What if you see another
Mhm.
episode or two?
Yeah, definitely. After seeing the first season of Invincible and the first episode of The Boys, I'm like, do I like superheroes? But yeah, that's what I've been watching. That's what I've been doing.
So yeah, Andrew, what have you been watching, playing anything?
So I've also been watching Invincible.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I also was watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That too. I forgot to bring
Um,
that up. Yeah,
No.
great. That's a great show, but you definitely need to watch. Well, you have to have some context, I guess, before you watch it. Anyway, sorry.
yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of Like I said, I've watched every MCU movie. So I really love the TV shows. WandaVision was great. Falcon and Winter Soldier was great. What I was doing, because there's a lot of people with spoilers issues.
Hmm.
I usually wake up around like 6 in the morning for work stuff. So I would watch it as soon as I waked up. I wouldn't look at social media after like it would actually drop, and then I would watch it, and then I'd be good. Like I said, Falcon Winter Soldier, great. I had a great time watching that. I liked a lot of the topics they spoke about. Um, I have a lot of issues with it in terms of not so much the representation part. I love that part, but how certain things are handled and how they get resolved. Um, but obviously it's a season one of a TV show, so you never know what the movie's gonna bring or what's gonna be talked about then. Um, Invincible is great. I didn't read the comics, but I read about like more or less a in-depth summary about what's going on like years ago. So I
Hmm.
kind of knew some of the twists and turns that would happen. But I think it's great. The voice acting is amazing.
Oh my! If you're gonna watch Invincible for anything, watch it for the voice acting. It's fucking
Yeah,
impressive.
amazing. Um, and then the only thing that, like I said, I don't watch a lot of recent stuff, um, because I'm just weird like that. But the only thing that I have been watching recently, and I can't wait for season 4 of, is Cobra Kai. Um, I was a big Karate Kid fan growing up, so I love the movies. Cobra Kai, I think, is really well done, and they really know. I mean, obviously, like I said, if you liked Karate Kid, you more or less will like Cobra Kai because it's more or less the same thing. It's a continuation of the story. I think the action is pretty good, and like I said, I've been talking with one of my friends about season 4 and what we want to happen and what we can expect. That's something I would recommend if you actually did like the Karate Kid movies growing up and stuff.
Yeah, I've not actually seen anything on Disney Plus because I don't have Disney Plus, so I feel like I'm massively missing out. You're totally
Let me
right.
explain everything to you.
But I was gonna say you're totally right when it comes to the spoilers on Twitter. It's like I could name pretty much all the spoilers from The Mandalorian, and I haven't seen one episode. That's just from people posting stuff. Even oh my God, what's Mark Hamill? Even Mark Hamill, the day after, posted a spoiler, or not even a spoiler, posted about the surprise that we've been kept secret for over a year. And it's like, well, mate, if you're talking about it, I'm presuming there's a character who you portray makes an appearance some way, shape, or form.
Honey. Yeah, no bigger than a pumpkin.
Oh, where's Greg Miller when you need him?
Dude, I was so fucking shocked when the water walked in
Yeah,
on the last
Jesus,
scene.
he's everywhere. That
I
wall.
would have been way happier. I would have been way more excited if it was water. Um,
But yeah, like that's but so like there is, and with WandaVision, I think I think that I've seen some pictures of I think the big bad in that's folks
mhm.
use as a meme on Twitter.
Yeah, it's a meme. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when it's Falcon and
Kind
the
of
Winter
issues with the show, isn't it?
Soldier, I think a lot like I think it's the last suit in like the last scene or whatever that the Falcon gets, and it's like a big deal. That picture
Yeah.
is now everywhere. So I think I think
That's
what you're
kind of the
doing.
issues with these shows is like you need to watch them when they happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think Andrew. I think you've got it right just to do it there and then. Well, especially with me when it comes to the same thing was kind of happening to Invincible as well. Because I like to kind of consume my content like when I want, and normally I'd like to do like 2 or 3 episodes in a oneer. So I watched all the 3 episodes of Invincible when it first came out, and then it's like, right, I can't wait for just one episode the week after that. I'm just gonna leave it. So I just left it, and then I think I left it when it was, I think, 2 episodes to go, and I caught up. And then it's like, okay, that at least that gives me 2 episodes back to back to watch the finale. So it was like essentially like an hour and a half finale for me. But even like by then, it's like folk are posting memes, or they're saying, "Oh, what do you think about this character?" or "What do you think this means by them saying this?" And it's just you just see it scrolling on your timeline, and you're not
Yeah.
You know what?
anticipating it, and you're just, "Oh God!" Now
You know what's
that's
funny for me with Invincible?
Hmm?
I did not get any spoilers for Invincible at
You
all.
didn't get any spoilers.
Except for one, which was I was watching the Rooster Teeth podcast and they brought up the spoiler for episode 1.
Oh,
But
okay.
for some reason, that for me was like the tipping point where I was just like, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's like now you
And
know this. You want to see like it in context
and
and
when I
in action.
watched it, it was like episode 6 had just premiered. So
8 or no? When you
no,
watched it, there's
no,
6 out.
when I
Okay.
watched it, yeah, when I watched it, episode 6 had just happened, so it was like 7 then 8. It was the week of 7
Uh-huh.
too, so it was just like it was perfect for me.
Yeah,
I binge
Yeah,
all
I
of it.
think especially with a show like that, how it's, I think because it had like compressed so much of the comics, it was just it went at like such a pace, and it was always kind of on a cliffhanger. I don't think any episode was a filler. There's always stuff sort of happening.
Mhm. I will say, as far as if anybody wants a show that you feel like you do not need to follow along with, or like it's like a trash reality show type of thing, watch The Circle on Netflix, specifically season 2.
The
Because like
Circle.
The Circle. So basically, it's like a social media reality show type of thing,
Oh yeah, that
I
show.
where
think
it's
I
like
heard about that.
people. It's stupid, and people live in an apartment building, but they cannot interact with each other at all. They can
What
only
the
like
heck?
text each other. They can only text each other. They
It-
cannot hear each other. They cannot see each other's face. They can
Oh
only
my-
text each other, and this leads to either people being themselves or being catfish, like being something they're not.
That sounds like the worst talking, because
And
like they just put
and they don't
oh,
have like they don't have anything. They don't have their phones. They don't have computer. They just have like a book, and then they have games that the show provides them, and they do stuff. It's very interesting, like the drama and like the back and forth. The season 1 is for me, it's kind of slow, or it's like they focus too much on the social media aspects of it. Season 2 is just drama, and it's just crazy. Like it's weird the shit that they do with it. Yeah.
that
if-
sounds like a nightmare. Like, because talking to some people on just text, because we mentioned that earlier. It's like so much is lost of like sarcasm and tone,
There's a
and
lot of two-facing.
it's
There's a lot of like people
Mhm.
pretending to be like, "Oh my god, I love you so much," and then like you cut to the camera, this person saying it, and they're like, "Fuck you." They just
Jeez.
it's so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
It's definitely that thing where it's like, if you just want to turn off your brain and just watch drama, watch that show because it's great. If anybody's seen Too Hot to Handle, which is like the show where they put a bunch of like sexy people onto an island and told them don't have sex with each other.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
that
person
was
from that
fun.
show. There's a person from that show called Chloe, and she's on The Circle. And oh my god, she's so fucking horny and stupid. It's just so funny. And it's just there's so many different personality types on this show, and it's very interesting. I would definitely say watch it if you can. It's on Netflix.
That's
Season finale is this week on Wednesday.
oh, it's
And I literally binged the whole show. I literally binged the whole season Friday night, and I was just like, I'm obsessed with this.
Caesar loves The Circle.
I love drama, but I don't love getting into drama. I just love observing drama, especially when there's no strings
It's like
strings
people
attached.
watching.
Like
Hmm.
like I just like watching people that have no effect on my life,
Yeah, you
Mhm.
like to see them crumble apart and,
Yeah.
see their
But
bad
here's the thing,
choices.
it's for $100,000. So it's not even like that serious, if we're being honest. Like
Yeah,
they're
that's life
being really
changing.
shitty because they want to make
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so it's not even like this is their real life. It's a show.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you think you can get far in the circle, Caesar?
Oh, for sure. I'm
I
a
think
very
Caesar could win.
I'm a very isolated person. So I feel like I could survive that space. But as far as winning the show, that's different because it's definitely a popularity contest. And even if you do win an episode, you have to choose who to vote off.
Oh,
Like
so
you have
but
to
do
choose
people
to kick somebody
know
out.
when you've made the
Who
choice?
wins? The people know who wins the show, and people know who gets voted out. And
Uh,
it's very intimidating when somebody gets voted out because sometimes it's like uh they either go just like to meet somebody, like they go meet the person that voted them out, and like ask them why the hell did you vote me out, or they go meet the person that the show will ask them like who do you think should win the show, and if they go meet you, you might get like a special prize, you might get like a special reward or something like that. Or if you're on the second to last episode, the person who voted somebody out, the show was like you have to go tell this person to their face that you're kicking them off of the show, and
that's
it's just so
drama.
yeah, it's just really just very interesting show. I feel like I could do well on it though. I feel like I could. I feel like I could survive because I'm very good with getting on people to either like me or ignore me. So I feel like I can do that. I feel like I could survive on that show. Watch me get
Interesting.
an email from like a Netflix executive. It's like, oh yeah, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Well, we'll be sending
Alright,
him
we're just
this
gonna write down Caesar Towers
podcast
for the next season.
next time as soon as it's uploaded. We're like, hey,
I would
Netflix.
I would 100% get on the circle. I will put this out there right now. I will be on the circle.
Hey, I
Even if
think
I don't win, I think it'd be really funny to be like, yeah, I was on this show.
exactly. Why not? It sounds like a
Put
fun
it on your
opportunity.
resume.
I mean, if it's
The
up
thing is, it's like
for 100K
it's
as well, fuck it, why not?
it's very much
Yeah.
like people have mentioned like it's
How's
very
it?
isolating. It's very isolating and it's very like lonely and stuff like that. And it's like I've had a whole year of practice.
Yeah.
I've had a whole year of practice of being alone and talking to people online. I think I can handle
Mm-hmm.
it somewhat.
Like, yeah, you
I
do
mean,
it enough
yeah.
for free anyway. You're like, well, put
Yeah.
100 grand on it. Yeah, no problem.
Watch the circle.
You know what's interesting about that? Something that I learned over this whole year is that I'm actually an extroverted person, which I
I think
didn't think
I
I.
think we talked about this.
Yeah, we did talk. Yeah, Caesar and I, we talked about this. But I learned that I'm an extroverted person because when I started working from home, and I was only home with just my fiance and my kid, I didn't have that interaction with my coworkers or any of my like in-person friends and stuff like that. I got into like a little depression about it, but I didn't know why. And then we were just talking about being an introvert, and I was like, I always thought I was, but it's like turned out I wasn't. It's like I need to be talking with people and being around people, and that's where I get my energy.
Yeah, I think this year it's a lot of people find out a lot of stuff about themselves. I think so I think it's mostly the opposite. I feel from most of the people who I've kind of like my actual like IRL friends or people I actually know have said that like, oh yeah, I thought the lockdown would be, devastating and so scary and I don't think I'll be able to handle it. But they're like, yeah, it's just it doesn't feel like I've changed that much. So obviously I think I am a introvert.
Yep. Like, just give me the choice to go outside and like see people, but let me stay home.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Now that things are like kind of opening up, it feels because I met my stepbrother, dad, and stepmom on Thursday at like a pub for some food and a drink. We're all sat outside, and there was, young people all dressed up, treating it like a full on night out and stuff. And it was just being in that situation again. It was like a little bit weird because that sort of situations, it's like it's kind of what gives me anxiety. It's like from a younger age, that's what I was scared to do. So I kind of feel like I'm getting a little bit waves of that again. Essentially, not having a year of going out and being that sort of social, having that sort of face and mentality on, and then just being able to fully be myself for a year and then to kind of turn that on. It's I think it's gonna have to take a bit more practice and do it a few times before it kind of becomes a bit normal again.
Oh yeah.
But I think on
Good.
that note, was there anything else anyone wanted to say before they go away? So I think we should kind of wrap it up because it's coming up to almost 2.5 hours of being on.
Nothing really. Um, don't die.
Good, great advice. Great advice from Caesar right there.
Good advice.
Hydrate, eat some food,
Drink
sleep.
water. Make sure to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully whatever we've discussed today, you've actually, lasted this long. Thank you.
Oh. Word of advice: if you're gonna eat a Big Mac, eat it without pickles, because that's 100% the worst part of the fucking burger.
Pickles are great.
I know. I
No, love pickles.
yeah, I like that. I think with that, Caesar has we tease Caesar with the Big Mac, but now we know the true Achilles heel of Caesar.
Pickles.
Exactly.
So here's the thing: you can't even get me with pickles. Like that's like the first. I've had pickles before, and
Yeah,
I
and you
know I
just
hate
don't
them.
like
It
them.
doesn't
Just
matter what pickle I've had. I've
yeah,
tried different pickles. They're just nasty for me.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
that's
also have
fine.
that thing where like if I eat cilantro, it tastes like soap.
Oh
Oof,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Cilantro.
Oh, that
yeah.
Yeah.
sucks.
I know.
Oh, that sucks being Hispanic. Because
Dude,
that's
everything is served with cilantro. It's crazy.
with some ceviche, some
Of course.
damn, yeah, that must be terrible for you, dude. I'm so
I
sorry.
just asked for it dry. I just asked for stuff like without it. Like
Mm-hmm.
derechos, straight is how you say it in Spanish. Derechos.
Ah, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's yeah, it's more food for thought coming from the side of Caesar and his uh palate and all that.
You can't say I'm not trying stuff,
No,
okay?
no,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. It was well, that was my
Yep.
thing. It's just like as long it sounded before, but anyway, that's I think that's a whole other podcast in itself. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to say I thank each and every one of you for jumping on, hanging out with me. It means like a massive deal for me because I do really like doing this, and I feel like there's potential for so much good in it, and I just need to grind it out. And myself, I feel like I need to do it more, and I can't do it without you guys' help. So massive shout out to you guys, and thank you so much for opening up because I know it's not easy. It's very not easy. Just talking to people summit, let alone doing it on stream with someone who like technically none of you have seen hung out with me face to face or any of that. So like thank you for being so brave and doing it for me, and I really hope there's some positive benefits that come from other people listening and maybe causing them to open up. That's the whole point. I do it. That's the dream, and that's what I like. That's the whole point of this thing. So yeah, if you guys just want to go around, say your goodbyes, and also do a bit of self promote. Tell us what's coming up in your worlds or what you want to shout out for yourselves. By all means, the floor is yours.
My name is Cesar Torres, Caesar Towers on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, everything except for YouTube. On YouTube, I run a show called Patch Notes. This week, we're taking a little bit of a break because this week was a weird week for news because it was almost like there was nothing for when I was planning it, and then Friday when like is like when I have like the last minute stuff I throw in, everything happened, and so it was just like we just put off this week's episode. Next week we're coming back for sure, and yeah, just go check us out there. Bunch of fun, cool stuff coming up.
Awesome.
Where I'm taking every conversation of my life and just making content out of it. And so, kidding.
It's all about that content.
Yeah.
And I guess I gotta throw out there as well. Just be kind to other people. and get the vaccine.
Awesome.
You know.
Good to know that. Thanks again, Caesar, for chatting with us and coming on
Oh,
and all
I
that.
should say it's very small chance, but if anybody in South, if you know anybody in South Texas or Brownsville, Texas, we've got like there are doctors' offices here with thousands of vaccines that they're desperately trying to get away. Like this is not a joke. Just tell people to like call doctor offices in Brownsville or South Texas because
Get
there's a good chance they probably have a vaccine for you.
awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic to hear. So if you do hear that and you're there, take advantage. Go get it. Call them up. Because it's that the one where as soon as like they defrost it, it's got like a
It's
use
got
by
a
date.
expiration date. Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty much like that day. So yeah, take advantage of that if you can. Hopefully, that'll be incredible if someone hears this and be like, you know what, I did call up and I did get my vaccine. Thank you very much, Caesar Towers. Fingers crossed on that. So, Avenged, where can people find you, and what should we look out for you, other than just being moderator of Twitch?
Yeah, so you can find me at Avenge92X on any social media. Um, I will be streaming tonight actually at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Avenge92X every Wednesday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern and Sundays at 8.
Awesome. Cheers. Thanks again for coming on and talking about everything. Being so candid, it's means a lot. Thanks again.
Yeah, anytime.
And last but not least, Andrew.
Hello. Like I said, I'm Andrew
Oh
Rivera,
hi.
aka. Hey, how you doing?
It's
Um,
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
yeah, nice to meet you all too. First time talking to everybody. No. um, I'm Mecha Shadow 12 on Twitter and on Twitch. Had to take a step back and put a hiatus on streaming because COVID happened, had some bills, need to pick up a second job real quick. But I'm hoping to get back into it. I'm hoping to get Avenged as my mod. So
I'm
we'll see how
sure it'll
that goes.
happen. I'm sure it'll happen.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. One thing I do want to say is, well, actually, two things I want to say. One thing is, you never know what someone's really going, and always be mindful of that when you're talking to somebody, because at the end of the day, you don't really know. They could be going through something crazy, and just saying hi or hello can help. And one thing that I've been doing, I haven't done it since I was in the office, but anytime anyone who would say, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" and I would always say, "Living the dream." And the reason why I say this is because it's not a very standard response to that question, and it always the other person coming back to me would be like, "Oh wow, I didn't expect that." I'd be like, "Oh, that's awesome," or sometimes it'd be like, "Oh, you live in the dream or you live in the nightmare? What's going on there?" It's something interesting to do because one, it throws people off, which is always fun to see. But two, it's always like it sounds very positive. And even though I might not always be feeling that, I always try to put some type of positivity out there because that small spark of positivity could help somebody through their day that they might just need that. Because I know there's been one or two times where I've had a really bad day and I was getting to a dark place, and someone said something simple like that, and it turned my day around.
Yeah, that's great advice. Sometimes just it feels like positivity kind of breeds positivity, and it's like, and vice versa as well. If someone says, "Hey, how's it going?" You're just like, "Okay," and if you said it just pretty like mean, or if you're short with them, then they're gonna be like, "Oh, what the hell? Andrew's being a bit of a dick," blah blah, and then dwell on it and whatever. But if you say something like that, then yeah, they're gonna have a positive thought about that interaction with them. It's only a good thing.
Reese, where can people find you?
Well, yeah, if you can find all my links and everything on www.reeseboy.com, or my Twitter, which is Reese Boy, where I post just nonsense and sometimes good stuff about various funny things or things that I'm doing with my life or whatever. And then on twitch.tv /Reese Boy, I'm there most weekdays, streaming, charity streamer, as I said. Everything donated is always going to charity, and always got I try to create a safe space which is similar like this. We're encouraging people to be open and talk about what's on their mind, regardless of what it is, to benefit their mental health. So yeah, that's what I try to do every weekday, and I try to do a mind you every now and then with some other online friends. Don't know when the next one will be. Try to do at least once a month, but now that it's mental health awareness week in a couple of weeks in the UK, I might do another one sooner rather than later. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I think on that note, we'll end the Mind You. So thanks very much.